Alrighty then. Well, I'm in my bed with my hot hands. See, there they are, my hot little hands. No, I'm talking about these things here, the hot hands. Yeah, the hot hands. There we go. Oh, well, that's not working out. But you know what I mean. They're hot hands. They're little sacks of stuff, chemical reactant stuff that you stick in your pockets and whatever. Keep you warm is the idea. Anyway, I'm in the bed with them. We don't have any hot water bottles tonight because I couldn't boil water out there. I just had to give up. I couldn't keep the stove lit. We got 100 kilometer per hour winds. That's a lot of kilometers. Very fast. Very fast indeed. Anyway, I've been thinking about something with regard to the immigration situation and the illegal immigrants that, of course, that have come into the United States and have also come into Canada here where I am, because we've had the same issue, only to a lesser degree. We don't have the issue that they've had in the States with it, but we do have the same issue. And we have that issue in large part because our government has thrown the doors open and let these people in without any proper scrutiny or screening or going through the application process or whatever. There's a process to immigrate. Like, say, I'm here in Canada. If I were to attempt to immigrate to another country, there'd be a process I'd have to go through to do it legally. You don't just show up at another country. You don't just show up at a place. I mean, look, if I wanted to rent an apartment, let's say I had the money to rent an apartment, which I don't now, but if I did, I couldn't just go to an apartment building, find an empty unit to say that they didn't lock the door, so the door is unlocked, and just start to move all my stuff in there and start living in there and say, well, this is my apartment now. There's a process I'd have to go through. But the thing is, if the building owner was actively encouraging people to do that, saying, well, just move in and we'll worry about the particulars later. So just come to any of our buildings, if they own more than one or whatever, come to our building or any of our buildings. And any apartments that are unoccupied will be unlocked. And, just go and move, pick one and move into it. And we'll deal with the particulars of your tenancy after that. Then really, could a person be accused of doing wrong or of breaking in under those conditions? Because that's basically what the Canadian government has done, and that's also what the American government has done. The old American government, the Biden-Harris government. Now, under the new Trump administration, of course, they're trying to undo all this damage that was done. And so they have to get rid of all these people now. They have to hunt them down and get them the hell out of the country. They never should have been allowed in the first place, though. And I mean, we need a government here that'll do the same. But the one thing I'm thinking, though, is, can we really call them illegals, even though they didn't go through the process, when our respective governments have invited them to come in without going through the process? Like I say, if I just find an empty apartment in a building and I move into it, don't talk to anybody, don't make any kind of agreement or anything else, just find an open door with empty rooms behind it and say, well, this is my place, move into it. Obviously, under normal circumstances, that would be illegal. And they could put me out of there. They could legitimately put me out of there. But like I say, if they put a sign out front that says, hey, this sign is erected by the holding company that owns this building, and if you're looking for an apartment, just go inside, and any of the unoccupied apartments will be unlocked, and just pick an apartment. If you find an unoccupied one, move into it. That's all. Pick an unoccupied apartment. There's a few of them in there. Just move into it. Move in, go look at them, decide which one you want, and move into it. We'll worry about the particulars later. Can you then turn around and say that would be an illegal tenancy, or that the person who moved into the building did wrong? So, I mean, it's something that I've wondered about. It's just an angle that I've wondered about, Can we legitimately say that these people are illegals when the government has thrown open the door and invited them in? I mean, if you throw open the door to your house and you invite somebody in, then you can't turn around after the fact and say that they broke into your house and, or whatever. You invited them in. Now, if you ask them to leave and they refuse, that's a different thing. Then they're committing a crime at that point. But the actual entry to the place was not a crime if they were invited in. Now, personally, I think it's a foolhardy thing to just throw your doors open and make a general announcement that anyone can come in. You're going to get all sorts, and some of them you're not going to want. That's the reason that there's a screening process for immigration, because you don't want everybody that comes. But anyway, like I say, it's just something I wonder about. I mean, our governments in many ways are more guilty than the people that came into our countries, than the people who came in technically illegally, even though they were invited in and encouraged to come. They were still invited in illegally. They still came in illegally because they haven't gone through the process. But I still look at it and I say it seems like these people were put in a position, really. It was like an entrapment kind of a thing, and I think they need to go, but they shouldn't have been in Canada or the United States in the first place. And the thing is, one of the reasons that Trump is mad at Canada is because we got all these people up here. He doesn't want, because we share a border, eh? So he doesn't want them coming down into the United States. So that's why he's telling us either get rid of your immigrants that came in without being properly vetted, or secure your borders so that they're not coming across into our country, which is a perfectly reasonable thing for him to want, But Canada now is such a screwed up place. We have the type of a government that the United States had for the last 4 years. And we're having all the same kinds of problems too, only even worse. It's really bad here. But we don't have the sheer numbers of illegals coming in that the United States has had. But still, we have way too many. And we have enough that it's caused a problem. It's put an awful strain on our resources here. And also, just like the United States government, our government didn't vet these people, so we don't know who we're getting. We don't know who we got. Could be anybody. Probably some of them are just good people trying to make a life for themselves, Can't blame them for that, really. But then, what about the others? And see, we don't know who's who. We don't know who the good people are, who want to come here and make a life for themselves, honestly. And we don't know them from the ones that have nefarious intentions, because they weren't vetted. They weren't vetted. That's the problem. And the same is true in the United States. The previous administration didn't vet these people. Anyway, still, I do wonder. I mean, we say they're illegals, but then our government's invited them in. Say, come on in and don't follow the process. It's fine. We'll deal with it later. Come on in. Move into one of our apartments first, and then we'll deal with all the technicalities of establishing your tenancy. But just find an unlocked door and move your shit in and start living there. and then we'll sort it out. No landlord in his right mind would do that. But yet that's what we've got happening in Canada, and that is what was happening in the United States until just now, really. Anyway, I would say that any way you look at it, those people do need to go, though, because they shouldn't be here or in the States in the first place. And like I say, our immigrants that came in the same way, because our government threw the door open and said, never mind due process, just come in. The U.S. government now is concerned about them, because of this largest undefended border in the world thing that's we got between us. And, there's places in Canada where you can literally walk across an imaginary line and you're in the United States. They have some reason to be concerned. Anyway, that's it. That's all I want to say about it. I think it was a foolish thing. Throw the doors open and say, hey, come on in. We don't care who you are. We don't care. You might be a good, decent person wanting to just have a better life and maybe send some money home for your family and stuff, so they can have a better life back in your home country. Maybe someday want to bring your family here when you get established. Or you might be a serial killer. We don't know. Come on in, though. We'll sort it out later. I mean, that's what our government and the U.S. government has done. Like I say, the new administration in the United States wants to put a stop to it. They got their work cut out for them, though, I'll tell you. And I see now, I've just seen recently this thing where people are making TikTok videos called Cute Winter Boots. There's different people doing this, and they're talking about winter boots. That's the dialogue. But then they're holding up, they write down on flashcards or on a notepad or whatever where ICE is. They find out where the ICE is, which is in the States. These are the people who deal with immigration and naturalization and stuff. And these are the people that would deport you. If you're in the country and you shouldn't be, these are the people that will find you and take you out of the country. And now they're using these videos to tip people off as to where ICE is operating, and stuff. So, again, it's too bad for those people because they never should have been allowed in under those circumstances in the first place. And in many respects, it is unfair. But it still has to be done because they never should have been let in under those circumstances in the first place. They shouldn't have been. If they want to immigrate, then they need to do it the proper way, like anybody else. And these people cannot legitimately be called refugees because a refugee has to go to the nearest country where they can be safe. These people are passing through several countries like that to get to the United States or Canada. So clearly these are not refugees, according to the definition of refugee. Yet that's the law that's being used to justify what's happened. Anyway, that's it. Good night, I guess. Let's see, there's Rocky. There's Rocky sleeping. This is like a helicopter or a drone or something here, hovering over him. All right. See you in the morning.